on this property. And I really shouldn't show this because it's not typical, but it is possible.
We're not here for typical.
Read that line that says cash from borrower.
Cash from borrower, $393.15. $400.
Cash from borrower. Who is the borrower?
You?
Probably.
It's me.
It's on here somewhere.
It's at the top.
It should be at the top.
Anthony J. White.
Do you know why I was able to bring $400 out of pocket? Because I was using somebody else's money. Right? I was using hard money. I found a deal. The deal made enough sense. That's actually on the Northeast. So is this one. Ironically.
I keep getting it mixed up. Northwest. Sorry.
Are you looking for Northwest?
Yes.
Okay. I don't have, I actually have.
But Northeast is not out of the question.
Is there a particular, well, we'll go into that later on. On this one, uh-oh, did I leave it? Oh. On this one, what does it say for cash from borrower?
$7.
Oh, I still brought the wrong
Did
one.
you say $7?
I did say $7.
It should be in your email.
No, I didn't. What does this one say for cash from borrower? It's on the front page.
$19,218.69.
So that one actually was a foreclosure. It wasn't a, I didn't find it because it was a foreclosure. I found it because, what's Anthony say the best way to find deals is?
Sphere of influence.
Sphere of influence. Somebody knew that,
Connection and that.
somebody knew that I was purchasing properties, and they actually brought the deal to me because they said,
You solve problems.
precisely. And so the thing about that deal, right, not only, and I used somebody else's money, right, to get started, $19,000, the rehab on it was $25,000. There was $25,000 rolled into the money that I borrowed from them, so after I gave the $25,000, they reimbursed me for the $25,000. And then, on my refinance on it, I refinanced it. And what does that say for cash to close?
Cash to close, $70,529.80. That goes to the borrower.
To the borrower.
And this is the one you did the 20,000.
Yes.
You came to the table with 20,000, put all the money into it to fix it up using your private lender,
Mm-hmm.
refinanced it into a traditional mortgage.
Wait, you skipped a step. I came to the table with 19,000. I put my 25,000 into it. I got reimbursed for my 25,000. And then,
This is after your 25,000?
yes,
Oh my God. That's amazing. I don't understand why I can't get my brain to accept that. Like, I can see it, right? Like, rather, I can accept that you did it, right? Obviously, you did it, right? I catch myself saying, can't I do that? Rather than how can I make that happen?
Right.
Mind shift.
Do you believe, do you believe that you should be able to do that?
I feel like I can say yes, but it feels like a lie, you know?
Then that means no.
It's crazy.
And that would be the reason why.
I know.
So, part of the reason why we talked about vision board, right? Because we want those things to help compel, right? Because some of the things that I have to do to get these, it's uncomfortable, right? But it's easier for me when I'm looking at what I will get to, right? The reason why I'm doing it. You know, as I mentioned before, there's a lot of things that I don't want to do. Like me, I feel like I'm a slacker. I'm lazy. I feel like if I didn't have like this duty, I don't know why, I just feel like I'm supposed to ding the planet. And it just feels like a duty. And if it wasn't for that, like, and so a lot of the times when I'm doing some of the things that I'm doing, it's because I'm looking and saying, I have the vision of what I see what it looks like. And I know I have to be working towards those. And so that's why I've been starting the conversation with vision. Let me ask you this. Have you been looking at your vision board, like really looking at your vision? Not just like I see it there, because I know you have it in a place where it's very conspicuous. But sometimes when we have things that are that conspicuous, we become blind to them, right? Are you actually looking at it?
Yeah. I don't know.
Doesn't mean anything. I got stuff. I don't even know what my screensaver looks like. And I look at my phone all the time.
No, I stare at it when I'm at work and I'm on downtime. I do. But I have a tendency to drift in the direction that I don't want to.
So if you don't believe that you deserve it, it will be extremely hard, right? And I think when it comes to this, I think remembering that money is good for the good it can do, right? And I know that you have a lot of things that you want to do. There's a lot of people that your family that you want to be in position for, that you want to help. And so I know that, and this might be the hard thing. My dad has I had to unpack some things for me to get to the place where I'm at. Because my dad's perspective on money was like, I don't want to have a lot of money, because if I start to have a lot of money, you get a lot of temptations, right? And it can take you down a different path. And so I'd rather be in a place where I don't have to. And so for me, I had to unpack some of that, because I realized that I would make money and I wouldn't have it. And then I'm like, I don't understand. Like it would flee from me, but I did not feel like I should have it. I didn't feel like I deserved to keep it, because my relationship with money said, if you have a whole bunch of money, you're not a good person. And so if that's something, that would probably be something, and it may even be a conversation where I may have to go and say, hey, let me talk to somebody professionally, like, I need to get over this roadblock. Because you have to see it first. You have to be able to really see that I can do these things. And then it's also having a clear plan, right? If I have a clear plan, which also is part of it, right? You have a general hazy thing. And so it's also sitting down and saying, let's get a clear plan of the how. First this, then this, then this, right? And this may be, before, right, when we started, you said, hey, I want to buy 3 houses, I want to do these things, right? We had a plan, it was clarity, we had conversation, and we had weekly accountability, pretty much, right? And so that was one of the things we talked about last time. Statistically, we start with the vision board conversation. Statistically, over 30% of people, there's a 30% increase of people. You are 30% more likely to hit your goals if you have them written down. You are 76% more likely to hit your goals if you have them written down and weekly accountability towards those goals. Right? And it's a lot of times, my biggest relationship with that, I remember when I was at McDonald's, I was so mad because I see people get out of prison and they just, boom. And I'm like, I'm sitting here working my 9 to 5 and I'm grinding, and that person, and I couldn't understand it, right? And then to me, I finally, I looked at it and I said, that person got clear, right? I had time to sit down and say, this is what I'm going to do. This is how I had nothing to do but time to make sure that I'm working on this plan. And so I got out and I'm just executing and following the plan. And so that's the reason why, I said this last time, with the exception of maybe Ashley, I don't know anybody who went to McDonald's and said, I am going to apply to work at McDonald's because I want to make this a career. What happens is, I just need to get a job, right? I put an application and hired me. And then, oh shoot, I got a baby. Oh shoot, I got this kid. Oh, I got this ticket. Oh, I need to get a car, right? And I get stuck. And I may have had a plan, like I'm here to work to do this thing and I'm going this way, and I got stuck here, and because I don't have clarity as far as the plan and where I'm supposed to go back to, I don't have a beacon, and so I'm just stuck here. I'm just kind of going through the motions here. And I'm looking over there kind of like, oh man, this is not where I thought I see myself, but I don't have a clear plan or something to get me back to it. And that's a big part of having the clear written goals is important, because it can become your guiding light. I know for sure, yes, I'm over here. Now, is there some times that I got to get off track and I got to do whatever I got to do? Yes, absolutely. I got to do, but I got to know I'm getting back to, okay, now I'm pivoting, right? Part of my plan is taking me back to this thing that I know is ultimately where I'm trying to get to. But having clear vision is extremely important. And if you don't have, some people struggle with that because maybe I don't have the ability to create my own vision. There's nothing wrong with hooking up to somebody else's star, right? Hey, somebody else has a vision and they're doing it. Let me step in and let me see where I can plug in and work in with somebody else's vision, right? I think that's one of the things in our entrepreneur culture, and everybody thinks that, oh, bump a 9 to 5, No, you don't have to. But there's different roles. It said, if you want to go fast, go it alone. If you want to go further, you got to go with a team, right? And so that means everybody's got functions. The team has to work in different capacities, right? It can't just go. Somebody's got to build the infrastructure. Somebody's got to do some of those other components. And so when I get clear and I say, these are the realities of my skills, these are the realities of what I can do, what I'm willing to do, because there's also a time where, maybe I can do these things, but I got life, I got a wife, I got kids, I got some of these things, and I'm not willing to go in like that, right? I know what it takes, and right now, I'm not willing to do that. Let me make a plan that fits where I'm at. I can still go, and maybe again, it may be hitching to somebody else, right? It may be, there's some things that I got to do in the meantime, but I have clarity that I'm not just doing it to go through emotion. This is something purposeful, right? I knew that I wanted to be an owner-operator. I wanted to run my own business. I didn't know how. I didn't feel like I had the skill sets. So when I was at McDonald's, while I was there, I said, I'm using this to get real-world experience of running a business with somebody else's money, right? And so while I'm there, I'm going all in. Everybody thought I was McDonald's for life. I'm like, no, I'm going all in. I'm doing what I'm supposed to do, but I'm getting my skills. I'm getting my reps in. But the mindset part is the hardest part. Do you know, years ago, my alias was Charlie Brown. Why is everybody always picking on me?
You're welcome. I told him to go back to my
Why is everybody always, I just felt like I always got the short end of the stick. I always felt like things were terrible, and if it could go wrong, it's gonna go wrong on my watch, right? What I focused on expanded. That's how I saw the world. That's how I continue to see the world. What kind of car do you drive?
Honda Accord.
Honda Accord. How many Honda Accords do you see on the road every week?
I don't know. I don't really pay attention to that.
Oh, that's right. She has driving anxiety.
I really do.
Michelle, what kind of car do you drive?
Oh, it's called now. A Chevy Equinox.
How many Chevy Equinox do you see on the road?
Too many.
Ashley, how many Chevy Equinox do you see on the road?
I see a lot, but I'm always reading the backs of the car, just looking for.
Esmeralda, how many Chevy Equinox do you see on the road? Do you?
I couldn't tell you what it looks like.
Cherry Equinox, yeah.
You see a lot of them? Shereen, how many do you see?
Well, what I drive,
No, Chevy Equinox.
I used to have one before this.
Do you see them now?
I see it. No, not really.
What kind of car do you drive?
Hyundai Santa Cruz.
How many do you see now of those?
No, I see Hyundai, but not that kind.
But you see Hyundais
Mm-hmm.
often?
Yeah.
Do you see Hyundais often? Oh my gosh.
I'm always looking at the cars. I
trying
will
to
say
get home.
that once I bought my RAV4, I definitely see so many more of those on. So either what you're saying,
Right.
or they became very popular.
They did not become very popular. I guarantee you.
But yeah.
They did not become more popular. Right? But it was because, I can see this.
Yeah.
And so the same thing is with opportunities around you. If you believe that there are not good opportunities around you, an opportunity can be dancing around you and you won't see it because that's not where you're locked in. You're not tuned into that. So that's why it's important. The mindset part is the hardest part. Once you make the shift to say, I deserve, right? I can, I will, I must. It's a lot different. It's not a matter of if, but when. And so there's certain things, for me, I have a lot of things that I'm frustrated about. I'm frustrated because I'm not on Google's best places to work. What?
You work here, right? You don't come up when you search this building.
No, that's part of our problem right now. We're trying to move our Google thing over here, and we're having an issue because our address is still our old office. And it's a whole thing. But there's some things that it's not a matter of if. And so because it's not a question of if I can do it, it's a how can I do it. Those are two completely different lines of thinking. So one of the things that we had, the homework must have scared everybody. So one of the things that we have been, the intention, the objective, the purpose. So originally this class was specifically just real estate investing. We've evolved it some. It is real estate investing at the core, but it's also like the whole thing, right? Because we understand getting to this different level means different things for different people. I don't want, a lot of times people get locked into real estate. It takes so much money to get into it. And so I do believe it's one of those things that when you come in and you consistently and you're regularly around it, then you can start to become more comfortable with it, and you can recognize opportunities because like they're more familiar, right? The first time I learned how to do a lot of the things, I didn't know how to, and I just felt like it's big, scary, daunting task until I was around somebody who's doing it. I'm like, oh, it's not as bad as I thought, right? And then I'm around, like, I'm running McDonald's for years, and now it's not such a terrible idea that I could be a business owner, right? It feels manageable, reachable, right? And so that some of that is the purpose of this. I know if I just talk about real estate, that a lot of people are gonna be like, oh no, like I have $20,000, that don't make no sense to me, nah, right? But if we start looking at the pieces that we can do, right? I didn't just wake up and jump into real estate investing. There was a lot of mental work. I listened to a lot of books, and I can recommend you books for almost any situation because, like, as far as helping grow and get to the next level, for me, that was one of the biggest switches, right? When I was trying to get my real estate business up and running, there's a book called The 10X Rule. And in the 10X Rule, the premise is you're typically going to underestimate how much work it takes to hit a goal, right? If I say I want to make $100,000, it feels like something I can just decide I'm going to make $100,000 and I'll just jump into it and I can do it. And sometimes with making $100,000, like, I'll get around to it because it feels like something I can just really do if I hit the switch, right? And so they say 10X that goal. Now I want to make $1 million this year. Well, that don't feel like something I can just hit the switch and do, right? I actually have to sit down and work a plan, put something together. And the whole premise is, if I put together this plan, that what I think to make $1 million, even if I don't hit $1 million, I'll blow by 100,000, right? Because I actually have put together a plan. I'm looking at executing, and I may fall short of this goal, but I'm going to be in a much better situation than here, right? And for me, that book at that time, it was perfect because it helped me get to another level, because now I understood, number one, I understood that my current level of thinking wasn't big enough. And so, like, yes, I did feel a little bit, I could make $100,000. Like, it's light work. I could just do it. And the plan that I was on, it was not gonna be there. And the other part of it is, right, making $100,000 cool until you realize you don't know how to keep it. And so when I make $100,000, I look back in the year and I'm like, man, I made $100,000. Why am I broke? That didn't feel like what I thought it was gonna feel like. And so understanding, and so that's why some of the conversation is financial education, right? How do I learn how to, and it was kind of at that point where I started to recognize some of the limiting beliefs that I had that made me say, I'm gonna go pay for everybody. Now that I made a little money, I'm gonna pay for everything. I'm gonna do everything. I'm gonna give, because I don't wanna feel like because I got money, I'm a bad person. And I had to change my mentality on it and say, hey, it's okay to have a little bit of money. You can do things for people at a better level when you have money, right? And so being able to but being intentional, and it's not one of those things, a lot of times people think it's like, I get it, I learned it, I said it and forget it, right? We're talking about financial education. If I've been doing this for the last 40 years of figuring out my money however I figure out my money, it's not gonna be all of a sudden, okay, I say I'm gonna do this different thing, and now I'm locked in, right? It's gonna be something I have to keep working at. It's not like, okay, I get on a plan, I make a budget, I do this, I follow it, I may be good for 2 months, life hit me with a powwow, and I'm, throw that back in the window, I'll be back to it. And I forget about it, right? It's something I have to come back to and say, oh, no, I gotta write that beacon that says, oh, no, I gotta get back to it. Like, yes, I got off, I got distracted, I got whatever, I gotta get back to it. Because these are the things that help position me. And so having that clear plan of what I'm gonna do with my money makes it easier, because I know that, like, if you're on a traditional W-2, I know exactly how much money I'm getting, right? And so I can say this from April 1st, I know what April looks like, right? Because I can tell my money where to go. If I plan it and I say, hey, this is all, I'm making $2,000 this month, I got $500 in bills, I got $600 in insurance, the rest of this money is gonna go to X, Y, and Z. Set it up an automatic payment. I can say, this is exactly, I know exactly where my money's gonna go, right? If I'm consistently on that plan, 5 years, 10 years, 15 years down the road, like, my money will do exactly what I told it to do. But things happen, right? I set it up, I do it, and that's why for me, when I get to that place, as much as stuff you can, put it on automatic payment. Because if I gotta think about it, if I gotta think about paying this credit card, or going to go see Usher, I don't know. I gotta manually make that decision. I'll make that decision next month, right? So putting as much of it, but when I have a clear plan and I'm telling them what to do, I can also say I'm planning for trips, right? I'm planning for date night, right? I'm planning for investing. You know, one of the things that I was in the kids finance class, I was talking to the kids, and it really kind of like leaned in on like the investing part of it. I think a lot of times when it comes to investing, especially because we all feel like I'm late to the game. And so when I jump into investing, I gotta, it better be a winner from the jump, right? But that's not really how investing works, right? It's just like farming, right? I'm gonna throw some seeds out there. Some of the seeds, the birds are gonna pick them up, right? Some of the seeds are just gonna be no good. But hopefully, if I threw enough seeds out there, the ones that hit are gonna set me up for everything. With investing, everybody is afraid to get into the investing, whatever that looks like. Real estate investing, crypto, stock, insurance, whatever that looks like. Everybody's afraid to jump into that because I feel like I gotta hit a banger right off the jump, right? But that's not how it works, how it's supposed to work. Some of it I should be comfortable, because I'm being intentional, some of it I should be comfortable with. I may lose it. It's part of learning, right? Sometimes you can build up good systems so you don't lose, right? Real estate is one of those things that I understand. The reason why I don't do a lot of other investing, because I understand real estate so much to where I can put up walls to where I won't lose. As long as I fit in the box and I don't get, sometimes people get eager, right? If I'm working with a new investor client, a lot of times they say, I just got to get something going. I just want to get into the Chip and Joanna. I seen them flipping and I want to do that, right? And hey, slow down, right? If I got good guidance, somebody should be able to protect me from being able to jump into that. And so in that situation, right, that shaves down the amount of my seeds that the birds are going to take away, because somebody else is telling me, hey, plant it like this, do it exactly like this. And so your returns come a lot quicker. But the way it's supposed to work is some of it's learning. I have it in real estate, in entrepreneurship. Most of my learning did not happen until after I failed. It's okay, right? This is not school. It's okay to not get it right on the first time. It's called the first draft. And so if I'm going into it and I'm learning, right? Once I learned, hey, that doesn't work, it's easier for me to learn what does work. I guarantee you, right? We're talking about failure. If we go and say to the owner of this building, hey, tell me what it takes to do it. And he says, you got to do this, 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 and this. Most people will be like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. I'll do this. I like that. I'll do that, right? We'll pick and choose. But we go under the bridge and say, hey, how'd you get here? They'll say, oh, I did this, this, and this. And they say, okay, I won't do that. I won't do that. I won't do that, right? From that failure, from that person, I'm more likely to go and say, hey, I know exactly what not to do. I can be more successful because I know exactly, hey, you told me these are the things that got you here. Bet. I'm not going to do that. Right? Failure is okay. It is. Now, with real estate investing, right? We talked about, you guys, before you guys got here, we passed around, I don't know, oh, she got it. Because when everybody talks about real estate investing, everybody talks about how much money you gotta have. And it's really, yes, is it easier if you start with a whole bunch of money? Absolutely. Right? You got a lot more options. Is it impossible if you don't have a lot of money? No. Not by a lot. Right? Some of the things you have to learn. Some things you have to figure out what your set of cards is. But this is an actual property that I bought. On this line it says cash from, wait, right here where it says borrower. Who's the borrower? That's me. And from cash from borrower, how much does that say? $393. That comes from, right, put in the reps, learning how to do this stuff. And I don't like showing this specifically because I don't want anybody to say, all I need is $400 to get into real estate, right? Because this discounts all the work and finding and creating opportunities and the grind and some of those things, right? But I showed this to say it doesn't have to be a lot of money. And what I didn't show everybody else, so this property that cost me $393 out of pocket, I ultimately ended up selling it. And what does the balance do to selling? No. Balance do to selling? This one right here. $39,824.75. Turn $300 into $39,000, right? If you don't have a lot of money to start with, it takes more sweat equity, right? It takes more grind. It doesn't even have to. Realistically, for most people, the reason why it's going to take more grind is because of inefficiency. If you can be extremely efficient and purposeful, it doesn't necessarily have to take a whole bunch of time, right? If I can understand and I can hone in on what exactly I'm doing and I'm clear, right? If I have built a large network and I know 10,000 people in San Antonio and I tell all of my 10,000 people in San Antonio, hey, I'm looking to buy houses. Hey, I'm looking for a distressed property. Let me get clear. This is specifically where I want to be. These are the kind of properties. I'm not afraid of whatever like that. You don't have to, right? If I have built a platform, whatever the cards I got today are the cards I got today. And so if I built a platform where I have 10,000 people that I know on Facebook, then I can use that, right? If I have people that I've reached out because I've hopped from job to job and I was a decent employee, I was cool, but I switched jobs all the time, I can use that. If I still have those contacts, right, I just be purposeful and use all the people, the sum total of all the things that I have. But if I'm purposeful, I can go and I can reach a scale and start with the people that I already know and say, hey, this is what I'm doing, right? And so yes, I had to at least have the $393 for this deal. It was a little bit more, right? You had to do it, I had insurance, that was like, well, I think I paid like $150 on that, the way we did that. But, you know, in some of the other classes, we talked a little about wholesaling. And so with wholesaling, what that is if you were to, what's your name? Sean, you would say, hey, I said, hey, Sean, I want to buy your property from you for $50,000. Will you sell me that property?
I gotta know the value of my property.
Oh, you don't gotta know. I'm telling you, like, you know, like, don't you gotta move? You gotta get out of here, right? Like, this property ain't worth nothing. Like, it's got whatever.
Now you're gonna make me wanna do research on it.
Okay, do your research. Come back to me. Let's talk about it. How much time
I'm
you
not
got?
even gonna tell you I wanna do research, but I feel like you want the property so much, it gotta be something. So I'm gonna go do the research before I make any business transactions.
Okay, Sean. I'm gonna check in with you next week. I appreciate that. I'm gonna be interested next week because you know, once you do your research, I'm gonna come back to you next week. Sharita, can I want to buy your property. I see you only owe $10,000 on it. Let me give you $60,000 for it.
I don't think I would.
No? Why not?
Cause I look at like going on 10,000, you give me 60,000, it's worth way more than that.
It's worth more than that?
That's what
What do you think it's worth? Let me ask you this. What would you do if you had $50,000 in your pocket tomorrow?
I'll just keep my savings.
You'll keep it in savings? You wouldn't go on trips?
No, I wanna keep it in savings.
Yeah.
Why? Cause it's
Yeah.
a waste of time when I can multiply that
Right.
50,000 and keep multiplying.
Right. Because he's right. Because this is the thing about cash, right? And this is the reason why, like, for a lot of people, especially women, like, I like to have cash because it makes me feel safe, right? It makes me feel comfortable. But for the most part, having a whole bunch of cash is really for vanity, right? Because, like, what's the purpose of me having? What's the actual purpose of me having $500,000?
Emergency fund.
What kind of emergency is $500,000?
I don't know. Someone could die today.
That's their problem.
I probably take out like a good 10,000 for emergency,
Mm-hmm.
and then I'm flipping the whole.
It needs to be invested. It should be invested. Now,
Because
what that looks like for everybody is different, right? When you're younger, the return on energy on investing, you've got time, and you want to make it as aggressive as you can, right? Because if I can invest it and I can make it, I can grow it, then it gives me more leverage for my later time. If I feel like, hey, I only got like 10 years left, maybe I'm not going to be as aggressive in my investing, right? Maybe that scale, instead of investing 40,000 and saving 10, I might be saving 40,000 and investing 10, right? I want some of it to still keep going. But, Mary,
So scared.
I'm gonna give you $75,000 for your property. You take it? Thank you. We'll sign this contract. Sean, I got a property that once you fix it up, it's worth $300,000.
No.
Will you buy it for $95,000?
Yeah,
You'll buy it for $95,000?
yeah.
Okay, let's sign this contract. Guess what? We signed the contract, right? I'm getting paid for my conversation. She's getting $75,000. You see how happy she was about that $75,000? I'm getting $20,000. Once you bring the money for the deal, I'm getting $20,000 for my conversation, and you're happy because you got a deal. You got a property that's worth $300,000 for $95,000.
Yeah.
So me, as a wholesaler, I've created money from my conversation, from being able to put the pieces together.
Then I can sell that and look for more profit.
Right. So what a lot of times what people will do as wholesalers, right, if I don't have a whole bunch of cash to get started with, right, then this may mean I need to be hustling a little bit more, right? I go out there, I make these connections, I gotta find whatever it is. Okay, I make $20,000, cool. I still can't buy, I still don't feel comfortable enough to go buy my own, so I'm gonna go find another deal like that, right? Boom, make another $10,000, right? I go through it and I can do that, and I can make those. And the amount of money that you can make doing that is infinite. There's no limit. This is the reason why. will people always be getting divorces? Do some of those people say, I want to screw that person so bad that I just want to get out the house? Right? So is there a deal there?
Yeah,
Will there be people that pass away?
yeah.
Will there be family members that say, hey, we can get $20,000 for this property?
Just because they down on their luck. They're selfish.
Is there a deal there?
Yeah.
Will there always be people that get behind on their payments? Is there potentially a deal there? So there's a lot of different ways that that was my first thought. When I first got into real estate, I'm like, man, I gotta hurry up and get some money because all the deals are gonna be gone. But now I understand these situations are human conditions. These kind of situations will always exist, and so deals and opportunities will be there. That's why real estate is great, because you can, if I have enough conversation. Now this is the other thing. I'm supposed to close on a property next week. This property I'm closing on next week, I'm going to be paying $5,000 out of pocket. $4,300 out of pocket. So with this $4,300 I'm bringing out of pocket, she's keeping the loan in her name. She's in a distressed situation. She said, hey, I just want to be out of it. I said, you want to sell in the market? She said, nope. I can't. I gotta get out of it. I don't want to make the payment anymore. The house needs some work. I just don't want to go through the process of getting the house ready, cleaning it up, doing all this stuff. I just want to get out of it. I'm taking over. Now I have a property that I'm gonna have to do some work to, right? Clean it up. What that looks like for everybody is different. For our standard that we want to put the house on the market, we're gonna have to do some work to it. For some people, it actually would be okay. She's living there, it's actually livable right now. But there's some things that we want to do to get to our standard for the market. Her mortgage payment right now is $1,492. We should be able to get $1,700 a month for it. So the $4,300 plus the money we put into it, right? So, because sometimes people say, well, I don't know if I'm going to be able to qualify for my own, I'm a business owner, I've got, high debt, I've got, my credit scores aren't amazing. So yeah, you told me about the hard money and I know that they whatever, but I don't think I'm ready for that, right? Even if I got the cash, I'm still not, this is another way. And so literally, the loan is still going to be in her name. I'm making the payments, I'm responsible for the payments. So the goal is to hurry up and get as quickly as I can, so I get a renter or owner finance or something else in there, so somebody else is making that payment. But I don't have to go through the traditional process of qualifying for the loan, right? Did you know that was an option? Did you know that was an option? This is the reason why, now you're kind of and maybe you don't have full understanding, but now having that kind of in the back of your mind, now when you hear certain conversations, right, you may see a Chevy Equinox.
I'm looking at it why y'all got this car?
And so that's a big part of this. The expectation isn't okay, I came to one class and now I know everything about everything, right? It's some stuff that we pique the interest. We start to say, boom, 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 now I can get, because what I'm hoping is you say, hey, I hear something, I don't know exactly what it is, but I know there's something there. Let me have some more conversation. Hey, Anthony, this is the deal. This is the situation. Is there something here? I can say, ask these kind of questions. There may be. Or it doesn't sound like it, but keep asking. One of the things, we're going to go through the exercise anyway. Even if it's not a good deal, we're going to still go through it because it's about getting the reps in, right? Learning how to have a conversation. Because once you go through and you have those type of conversations, that's when you start to get a lot more confident. Oh, okay, now, right, because I can talk about some of these things and they don't mean anything, and then you run into a scenario and you're now I can ask you questions and it means something to me. That's the reason my goal for this class is not to come in here and just get information, it's to actually take steps into the direction. It doesn't mean that you have to go and try and set the goal of buying a house tomorrow, right? Because it's not realistic to borrow Ashley's word. Right? It's unrealistic to expect that, okay, I came to a class and now I'm supposed to get out there. But small steps, if we can start to do the things that we can, right, start to take steps in that direction, I guarantee you it's a lot easier than you imagine. I've bought so many properties with no money that now, if I don't have any money, it's like, let me go buy a property. I'm not even kidding, right?
Yeah.
Ain't that backwards?
He's like, I need
That
money
don't
to
sound
go
like
buy
anything
property.
you've ever heard, right? That don't sound like anything you ever heard, right? I'm broke, so I'm gonna go buy a property.
And it's the truth.
What questions do you guys have right now? I know somebody's got some, like the wheels are going, but like, okay, what you got?
I got a question, right? Okay, I got a place, a small town, right?
Okay,
That's in North Carolina, right?
okay,
They have a lot of properties that's like kind of messed up,
mm-hmm,
and then urban communities, right?
mm-hmm,
So I was thinking, like the prices for these properties is low as $1,500. The connection, 15 to like 5,000, and get you a frame, something that you can fix up
right,
and make it pass state inspection, I guess, right?
right,
I know that. I know where they at. So now I'm trying to look into real estate because if I know where the deals are at,
yep,
I don't even have to come in this thing really using money.
correct. Sean made a good point. If we're gonna switch the roles, right? You get the other side of it now, right? Sean got a property for $75,000, right? I say I got this property for $75,000. It's worth $300,000. I don't have any money. Mary, I know you got the money. Would you partner with me on this deal? 100%. Right? 100%. There's going to be some, if you got the deal, and the deal, now I think the biggest thing is being able to clearly articulate the deal, right? And so some of yours would package in the deal in the scenario when we talked about the wholesaler, right? Some of the wholesaler's responsibility to be a good wholesaler, some of the wholesaler's responsibility is to protect and make sure that the person at the other end of it is actually getting a good deal. Because, yeah, I could burn you, I could get a quick 20 grand, but like, we can't do business again if I buried you in a project, right?
So if I keep the investor safe,
Yep,
and then with a guaranteed return,
yep,
I can't lose, and I
Nope.
just keep doing it again and again
Yep.
until them the urban properties is cheap. I can stack up enough money where I can go into better communities and do the same thing.
Absolutely.
Now I got more leverage. Right?
absolutely. Absolutely,
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to get into real estate.
absolutely.
I just woke up one day and said, I'm good at selling things. I think I can do it.
Okay.
But I know I can do it because thinking is like,
Right,
stuff. I know I can do it.
right.
So that's
Hear
why.
that?
Must be nice.
It's gonna be tough seeing that.
No.
I said I wanted them to do it, period. I don't care what it is.
Yeah,
Let's go.
If it's 1,000,000 miles,
yeah,
I'm coming for the 1,000,000 miles so my legs break off. So
Okay.
that's what type of hustling I like. I have natural hustling and ambition. I just, once I use it in a positive
mm-hmm.
way, I can't be stopped. So that's why I came to see you today.
Well, I appreciate it. So, as you're protecting and putting together, right, the other part of it is sometimes, like, I know I got something, I really don't know I got something, right? And so I can bring it to you, right? It's better if you understand what you got, right? And so if I know, and I can, not only I understand it, but I can clearly present it, right? So I got these properties, here's what they rent for, here's information about other rentals in the area, right? And here's what the property is worth. Now, that makes it easier for an investor to say, oh, I can verify this information is right, boom, yeah, I'm in.
See their investment in more ways than one. 'Cause
Right.
you just see your investment in one, you think about the 50% that can go wrong.
Right.
If I'm presenting to you 5 different ways to secure your money, you're gonna be more comfortable with handing me your money, because now you're seeing all these ways to make money instead of lose money.
For sure.
Even if there's a possibility that you could lose money, you'll see more ways to win money. But my job is to get you to see nothing but win.
Right. Right. What else is, who else has, what thoughts keep you from, like Ashley has the conflict of like, do I really deserve it? Should I be, right? I'm sure, right, when we first start something like this, it's natural to have some of those kind of things. What do you have?
I don't know. It's my first time that I want to know about real estate. So I don't know. It's just, can I do it? Am I gonna be able to learn all that? Like when you show me the paper and then what everything was.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's
I was lost. So I would like to learn everything, but it's gonna be hard for me, maybe.
I think for most people it's simpler than it seems, right? Because it's just one of those things I don't know what I don't know, right? I remember when I first got to, actually this is one of the things which I guess it kind of falls off now. I remember I asked my parents, right, back when we had to know phone numbers, like, how do you remember all the phone numbers? Like I just couldn't wrap my head around how you just remember everybody's phone numbers, but it's just what you did, right? It's just, I don't know. I don't think about remembering phone numbers. It's just, I got to call whoever, and it's just something because I've just been doing it. I just do it, right? And now, when I got to that place, I'm like, oh, right now, I only remember phone numbers from back in that time. I don't know nobody's phone number now.
Yeah.
But I still remember the phone numbers from back when we had to know the phone numbers, right? But now, it's just something different, right? And so just like whatever job that you do, right? Before you started to do it, it felt foreign, I'm sure, right? I didn't know there's all the different things and the mechanics and and now people are like, oh, what is that? Like it's, like when she talks about computers, I'm like, gross.
Gross.
Right? And I feel like if that was my space, if I was really in there and that was what I was doing, I could learn it. But because it's not mine, I'm like, I don't do that. I don't, no. You're speaking, right? And I'm sure that that's the way a lot of people feel about real estate, right? I don't know.
It's very intimidating.
It can be, for sure. What else do we have? What's the reason why? Let me ask you this. What's the reason why you don't think you can do a deal next month? Not that the expectation is, but I just know naturally there's like, oh, I can't because Michelle.
Me, I say, I'm always gonna make excuses. I have a baby. I'm not fixing to be with little friends.
Watch this. Michelle,
I have two.
you have